A $17,000 truck ranked number one for reliability in its class is sitting on a lot somewhere right now. The $31,000 truck next to it has worse maintenance costs and a worse repair record. The only difference is the badge on the tailgate. 3 pickup trucks are collecting dust on used car lots across the country right now. Mechanics know exactly which ones they are, not fixer-uppers, not budget compromises. Actual workhorses capable of pushing past 250,000 miles on nothing more than oil changes, fresh brake pads, and a tyre rotation every now and then sitting there marked down thousands below what they are actually worth. All because of one completely ridiculous reason. Truck culture has decided they are not real trucks. Buyers keep walking past them on the way to marked up Tacomas and F-150S. Meanwhile, anyone who actually works on vehicles for a living knows the truth. These 3 pickups deliver class-leading durability at prices that should not even be legal. The first one on this list has quietly become the single most recommended used truck in the shop. Over a dozen customers have been put into them, and not one has returned with a serious mechanical problem. Not a single one. These are the 3 most overlooked used pickup trucks on the market today. Tacoma-level reliability, Hyundai-level pricing. The first one gets the most attention because it is the one that changes how a person thinks about truck shopping entirely. Hyundai Santa Cruz. Most people have never heard of it. The ones who have usually crack a joke and move on. That reaction is exactly why it is possible to drive one home right now for $8,000 to $10,000 less than a comparable Tacoma and still be putting miles on it long after the Toyota crowd has moved on to their 3rd set of repairs. A property manager needed a truck not long ago. Hauling supplies, moving between job sites, daily commuting. He came in ready to buy a 2021 Tacoma SR5 with 74,000 miles on it. Dealer was asking $29,500. The service history was checked, the listing reviewed. The honest verdict, $30,000 for a truck with a transmission that hunts gears and barely touches 19 miles per gallon in real driving. When asked what the better move would be, a 2022 Hyundai Santa Cruz SEL Premium with the 2 5-litre turbo, 31,000 miles, $23,800 came up on screen. More power, better fuel economy, nicer cabin, $5,700 cheaper. He bought it. 8 months later, his total repair spending beyond the first oil change was exactly $0. Here is what the conversation about this truck almost never includes. The Santa Cruz shares its platform with the Hyundai Tucson, one of the most consistent crossovers in terms of long-term reliability in the American market right now. The base powertrain is a naturally aspirated 2. 5-litre 4-cylinder paired with a conventional 8-speed automatic at 191 horsepower. Simple, refined, proven. The version worth chasing is the turbocharged 2.5-litre. That one produces 281 horsepower and 311 pounds-feet of torque, more grunt than a V6 Tacoma in a package that weighs 800 pounds less. The turbo model uses an 8-speed wet dual-clutch transmission, which is where most hesitation comes in. Dual-clutch gearboxes have earned a complicated reputation over the years, and that wariness is fair. But Hyundai's wet DCT setup in this application has held up cleanly. No failures observed, not in the Tucson, not in the Santa Cruz. Anyone who wants absolutely zero risk in that department should stick with a naturally aspirated engine and its traditional automatic. That combination is about as close to bulletproof as a modern drivetrain gets. Now, why is this truck sitting on lots? Because it does not look like a traditional pickup. Unibody construction, 4-foot, 3-bed, £5,000 tow rating. Truck purists look at the spec sheet and shake their heads, but that dismissal ignores the reality of how the vast majority of truck buyers actually use their vehicles. 9 out of 10 never pull more than £3,500. 9 out of 10 never put more than £1,000 in the bed. They make Home Depot runs. They haul mulch twice in the spring. They drive to work and back every day. The Santa Cruz handles all of that with better fuel economy, 25 combined with the turbo against the Tacoma's 21, a smoother, quieter ride, and a cabin that costs $10,000 less. One more detail worth knowing. Hyundai's powertrain warranty follows the vehicle to second owners. The original 10-year, 100,000 mile coverage converts to a 5-year, 60,000 mile powertrain warranty for whoever buys it used. Ford, Chevy, and Toyota do not offer anything close to that on pre-owned vehicles. Current market pricing on a 2022 Santa Cruz SEL with the turbo and under 40,000 miles, $23,000 to $27,000. A comparable 2022 Tacoma SR5 with similar mileage, $31,000 to $35,000. That gap is $8,000 to $10,000. For a truck that costs less to maintain, rides better, and comes with a longer warranty on used purchase. Annual repair costs on Hyundai vehicles average around $468 below the industry average. Parts are shared with the Tucson, meaning they are widely available and affordable. A full 4-wheel brake job runs roughly $340. Oil changes are easy, filter access included. Buying checklist for the Santa Cruz. First, confirm which engine is under the hood. The base naturally aspirated 2. 5 litre with the standard 8. Speed automatic is the lower risk long-term choice, but the turbo dual clutch combination is strong as well. Second, test the all-wheel drive. The H-Track system carries proven hardware from the Tucson platform and should engage smoothly without hesitation. Third, look at the bed and check the underfloor trunk storage. If it has standing water or mold growth, the drain plug was never used, and that tells the whole story about how the previous owner treated it. Fourth, on turbo models, inspect around the intake piping for any oil seepage and watch for blue smoke on a cold start. Clean startup means the engine is in solid shape. The bottom line, turbocharged, all-wheel drive, warranted and priced thousands below what the badge loyal crowd is paying for less. The only thing working against this truck in the market is that it does not carry Toyota lettering on the tailgate. Nissan Frontier. The Nissan Frontier has some of the lowest per-visit repair costs of any mid-size truck on the road, below the Tacoma, below the Colorado, below the Ranger, and it depreciates like it owes someone money. A 2017 Frontier came in recently with 168,000 miles on it. The owner had been using it daily for 8 years, landscaping, equipment hauling, all of it. He wanted a list of what major repairs were coming down the road. The truck went up on the list. Suspension, brakes, undercarriage, diagnostics, transmission fluid check. The result? Clean transmission fluid, 0 engine oil leaks, surface rust on the frame with nothing structural compromised. The recommendation was to keep driving it. The owner looked skeptical. That reaction comes up often with these trucks because there genuinely is not much to find wrong. The reason gets into the engine. The second generation Frontier, which ran from 2005 all the way through 2021, used the VQ40DE, a naturally aspirated 4.0-litre V6 from Nissan's VQ family. The same engine architecture that powered the 350Z and the Maxima. Wards Auto placed VQ engines on their 10 best list for 14 consecutive years. In the Frontier, it makes 261 horsepower and 281 pounds-feet of torque. No turbocharger to worry about, no direct injection carbon fouling, timing chain instead of a belt. Built to go well beyond 200,000 miles without drama. Forum records routinely document 250,000 to 300,000 miles on original drivetrains. One owner posted a 294,000-mile VQ40DE maintained on nothing but oil changes and a spark plug swap. The 5. Speed automatic transmission, Nissan, paired with this engine through most of the second generation, is not high-tech. No paddle shifters, no clutch packs, no 10-speed logic, just a traditional torque converter automatic that Nissan spent nearly 2 decades refining. It shifts cleanly, does not slip under load, and does not overheat when the truck is actually being used as a truck. The 2022 third generation refresh brought a 3.8-litre V6, making 310 horsepower, paired with a new automatic transmission. Smoother, stronger, more efficient, and the used market for those is only going to get more accessible. RepairPal rates the Frontier a 4 out of 5 for reliability, first place among 7 mid-sized trucks. Above the Tacoma, above the Ranger, above the Colorado, Annual maintenance averages $470 compared to $615 for the Ford Ranger, and a segment average around $550. The pricing gap is borderline absurd. A 2018 Frontier SV with the V6 and 75,000 miles, $16,000 to $19,000. A 2018 Tacoma SR5 with the V6 and comparable mileage, $27,000 to $31,000. A $10,000 to $12,000 difference for a truck that RepairPal independently ranks as the more reliable vehicle in the segment. The market is paying a premium for a badge while ignoring the actual numbers. The most expensive repair ever performed on a VQ40DE Frontier was a timing chain job at 220,000 miles, $1,200 total for parts and labour. The most common unexpected repair on a same-year Tacoma is frame rust remediation. That is not $1,200. That is $3,000 or more depending on the severity. What to check when buying? First, listen for any rattling or whining noise from the front of the engine on a cold start. On some 2005 to 2010 models, the timing chain tensioner plastic guides wore out early. Nissan corrected the design around 2012. If the noise fades within 30 seconds, get the timing chain inspected before committing to purchase. Second, on second-generation trucks from 2005 to 2021, examine the transmission fluid closely. There is a documented failure mode on 2005 to 2010 automatics, where the internal transmission oil cooler inside the radiator could develop cracks, mixing coolant into the transmission fluid. On Frontier forums, this is called the strawberry milkshake of death. Pink, frothy fluid is an immediate walkaway situation. Post-2010 trucks got a redesigned radiator, and the issue is far less common on those. Third, check for frame rust, particularly on rust belt purchases. Focus on the rear leaf spring mounts and cross members. Surface oxidation is expected and not a concern. Flaking or scaling is worth either negotiating down hard or walking. Fourth, look at the bed for cracks around the tailgate hinges. Heavy use shows there first. Who should buy this truck? Anyone who wants a simple, mechanically honest, mid-size pickup that will work consistently past 200,000 miles without being a source of stress or expense. Towing a boat, hauling materials, general hard use, the Frontier is built for that without complaint. Anyone focused on total cost of ownership over the long term will not find a better option in the class. Who should pass? Buyers who want a refined interior and current generation tech should look at the third generation model because the second gen cabin feels its age. Anyone who prioritizes resale value should buy the Tacoma. The market premium is irrational, but it is real, and Toyota holds its value better regardless of actual reliability rankings. Fuel economy on the older V6 is around 17 combined, which is not competitive. The newer 3.8 litre gets closer to 21. The math. Buy a 2018 Sieverts V6 for $17,000. Drive it 150,000 miles. Spend roughly $3,500 total on maintenance and repairs across that entire span. The cost per mile comes out under 14 cents. Find another mid-size truck that matches that number. Honda Ridgeline. The Honda Ridgeline runs the same V6 engine architecture as the Pilot. It carries the same reliability DNA as the CR-V. It has more genuinely useful bed features than any other truck in the segment. And it sells for $6,000 to $10,000 less than a Tacoma because the average truck buyer has convinced themselves it is just an SUV with a cargo notch cut into the back. That misconception has been creating great deals for informed buyers for years. A retired military man walked in about 2 years ago with a $28,000 budget and a clear target, a reliable daily driver that could carry fishing gear, tow a small boat, and handle New England winters without breaking a sweat. He had been looking at Tacomas. The Ridgeline came up in conversation. His exact response, "That is not a truck. That is a Pilot with a birth defect." No argument was made. Instead, a walk to the shop parking lot. One of the technicians drives a personal 2017 Ridgeline RTLE with 187,000 miles on it, bought at 62,000 miles in 2020 for $24,000. Total repair spending by that point, roughly $2,400, which included a full brake job, new tyres, and a power steering pump at 160,000 miles. Everything else was oil changes and cabin air filters. That conversation changed things. The retired veteran bought a 2019 Ridgeline RTL. The following week, $23,500, 54,000 miles. His message 4 months ago, he was at 112,000 miles with zero mechanical problems. His words, "I have never owned anything this reliable. Why does nobody talk about this truck?" The second generation Ridgeline, running from 2017 through 2024, uses Honda's 3.5-litre J35Y6 V6, part of the J-series engine family that has been in production and continuous refinement since 1998. The same architecture found in the Pilot, the Passport, and the Acura MDX. Over 25 years of development behind it. And in the Ridgeline, it produces 280 horsepower and 262 pounds-feet of torque. Timing chain. Combination of direct and port fuel injection, which means the carbon deposit problems that plague purely direct injected engines at high mileage do not apply here. That distinction matters enormously at 150,000 miles and beyond. The 2017 to 2020 models use a smooth, proven 6-speed automatic. Starting in 2021, Honda moved to a newer unit with improved shift quality and better fuel efficiency. Both are conventional torque converter automatics, no CVT, no dual clutch, just straightforward, reliable engineering. The unibody construction draws the most criticism. Body on frame is what trucks have always used, and the Ridgeline breaks from that completely. But here is what unibody actually delivers. A lower centre of gravity for better stability, a stiffer overall structure that produces fewer squeaks and rattles over time, a smoother highway ride, independent rear suspension that keeps the bed level over rough surfaces, and a completely flat bed floor with no intrusion from wheel wells. A full 4x8 sheet of plywood lays flat in the Ridgeline's bed. It does not in a Tacoma. Then there is the in-bed trunk. Honda engineered a large, lockable, waterproof, drainable storage trunk directly into the bed floor. Pack it with ice, use it as a cooler for a weekend at the lake, lock tools inside it, leave the truck in a lot, without thinking twice about theft. No other truck at any price point offers this feature. It sounds like a gimmick, until someone uses one, then it becomes a requirement. Current market numbers. A 2019 Ridgeline RTL with 65,000 miles runs $22,000 to $26,000. A 2019 Tacoma TRD off-road with similar mileage, $31,000 to $36,000. $9,000 to $10,000 for a truck with lower typical maintenance costs, a more comfortable driving experience, and Honda reliability behind the powertrain. Annual maintenance on the Ridgeline averages $500 to $600, right in line with the Frontier and well below the segment average. The composite bed does not dent, does not rust, and does not need a liner. Standard all-wheel drive on every model, using Honda's IVTM, system that can send power to individual rear wheels for better traction in snow, mud, or loose surfaces. Actual shop invoices for reference: 4-wheel brake job, $330. Transmission fluid service, $180. Power steering pump at 160,000 miles, $520 parts and labour. The single most expensive repair seen on a second-generation Ridgeline to date was a starter motor at 195,000 miles, $380. That is the worst-case scenario on a truck that is nearly at 200,000 miles. Pre-purchase checklist for the Ridgeline. First, run the VIN for any open recalls. Some 2017 and 2018 models had a fuel pump recall that should have been handled under warranty. Confirm it was completed. Second, test the all-wheel drive on a loose or wet surface. Moderate acceleration from a full stop should produce even pull across all 4 wheels without hesitation. Front wheels spinning independently can indicate a coupling problem uncommon, but worth testing. Third, check the tailgate and rear bumper paint on 2017 to 2019 examples, particularly in white or silver. Some adhesion issues showed up near panel edges, not mechanical, but worth $300 to $500 in negotiation if found. Fourth, look underneath the in-bed trunk lid. Clean and dry means the owner paid attention. Water, debris, and grime in there means they never bothered to open it, which tells the complete story about how the rest of the maintenance was handled. Who should buy this? Daily drivers who also need a functional bed. People who commute 30,000 miles a year and occasionally need to haul furniture or landscaping materials. Anyone who wants Honda reliability without the Tacoma price attached to it. Families who need backseat space. The Ridgeline Crew Cab is genuinely large, and the dual-action tailgate that either swings down conventionally or opens to the side makes tight space loading significantly easier. Who should avoid it? Anyone towing over £5,000 regularly needs something heavier. The Tacoma handles up to £6,800, and full-size trucks go considerably higher. Serious off-road use is not what this truck was designed for. The unibody construction and ground clearance are not suited for rock crawling or deep trail work. A Tacoma TRD Pro or Colorado ZR2 belongs in those situations, and buyers who plan to sell within 3 years should go with the Tacoma. The Ridgeline depreciates faster, and that gap is real. But for anyone buying to keep, that faster depreciation is somebody else's loss and the buyer's discount at purchase. Final assessment: the smartest used pickup available under $25,000 right now. Honda V, 6-power, standard all-wheel drive, the most functional bed design in the segment, a ride that makes trucks costing $15,000 more feel rough by comparison, and maintenance numbers that would make most Toyota owners uncomfortable to look at. It is priced the way it is because the market has not figured it out yet. The ones who have are not complaining.